For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The road to the Super Bowl for the Rams ended in Seattle. A shaky performance by the Rams defense was a major factor in the Rams' 31-27 loss in the NFC Championship game. The Rams gave up 346 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes to Seattle quarterback Sam Darnold. Darnold also helped Seattle make 7 of 13 third down conversions. The Rams defense couldn't get off the field when they needed to. It was also a shaky day for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Stafford was 0 for 7 on 3rd and 4th down pass attempts. The Clippers keep winning. They beat Brooklyn 126-89 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Brooklyn's 89 points is the fewest allowed by the Clippers this season. 28 points for Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers are now just 3 games below 500. They are 15-3 since December 20th. The Lakers are at Chicago tonight, 4th game of an 8-game road trip. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Tavish Smiley. You may have heard me talk about the new course I'm teaching, The Art of Conversation. Well, it's here, and I'm holding a live, free preview session on January 26th at 6 p.m. Pacific. Here's why this matters. For almost 40 years, I've made my living having conversations that count. Presidents, activists,
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, oh, oh. Come on and talk with me.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr.
Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen
meeting.
to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
It's Moving Mountain Mondays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and we find ourselves at this hour in Mr. Krim's classroom. Mr. Krim, our contributor at this hour. Before I bring on Mr. Krim, I'd like to opine for just a moment on what's taking place in our nation at this hour. You turn on the news, MSNBC, CNN, or any of the prevailing news services, we are witnessing and watching the unraveling of our system of federalism, the role that the federal government plays in local jurisdictions, and its relationship, appropriate relationship for nearly 2.5 centuries with the states. We've not seen an unraveling quite like this unraveling as I survey mentally the entire history of the United States from 1619 to the present. Of course, there was this period when states decided to leave the Union over the question of the expansion of slavery into the Western states, known as popular sovereignty. Whoever gets to the state first gets to determine whether or not that state will be a slave state or a free state. That process ran its course in the 19th, 18th, 19th century, and states began to leave the Union because of their right to make judgments about the labor of other people in their territories. We're witnessing, quite possibly, a shortcoming of the system of the United States, the freedom system that is our system, where the states control local policing in the state of Minnesota, and certainly in the city of Minneapolis, there are somewhere between 600 and 800 police officers who police the entire city. But what we are also seeing is more than 3,000 ICE agents who've been deployed to the city, outnumbering local authorities. Many of these ICE agents are from Florida, they are from Texas, they are wearing masks. They were sent to Washington, D.C., they were sent to the city of Chicago, they were sent to Minneapolis, Minnesota, having not been trained appropriately in the constitutional restrictions required for how you interact with peaceful, nonviolent protesters, people operating within the context of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And so we witnessed some horrific events over the last 2 weeks or less that shock the conscience, not only of the United States, but shock the conscience of the entire world. Agents who have not been trained in the proper Mirandizing or searching of individuals, killing two non-violent, peaceful protesters who have a right under the Constitution of the United States. And in Los Angeles, we also lost an African-American brother in the custody of ICE. That's 3 American citizens who have lost their lives thus far. My mind harkens back to March 11th, 1965, which was my birthday. Reverend James Reeb, a white Unitarian minister, joined the Selma to Montgomery campaign, and he was beaten to death and he was called the N-word, an N-word lover, for marching from Selma to Montgomery. They taught him a lesson. And in teaching him that lesson, as John Lewis and others crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge, America for the first time saw just the brutality of the South, the brutality of states' rights activists, the brutality of the police, the brutality of the Ku Klux Klan. Just 14 days later, March 25th, 1965, Viola Luizzo, a white woman, I believe from the state of Michigan, was shuddering African Americans and peaceful protesters between Selma and Montgomery. She was driven off the road by a group of armed individuals. Some have suggested that sheriff's department and others were involved. She was called the N-word, an N-word lover, and they shot her through her car window in the face. It only heightened the intensity of the demonstrations in the South. Many African Americans had lost their lives, Emmett Till and Swerner Goodman and Cheney and others during this period. But it was when white life was taken in the cause for civil rights and social justice that the nation turned its attention to the grave atrocities associated with what was taking place in segregated America. Well, now, with our brother having been lost in Los Angeles under ICE custody, and a white man, Mr. Pretty, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, who by all accounts was decent, a nurse who worked at the Veterans Affairs, and Miss Renee Good, a white woman, having been shot in the face, 2 of which were on video that we observed as a nation. We stand by, horrified at just how awful these events are, at the loss of life. These masked agents, the ICE, the Immigration Custom Enforcement Agency, should be disbanded. It should be taken apart. Everyone should be relieved of duty. Border Patrol and the border function should be left to the border, not in our urban areas where Mr. DeSantis and Mr. Abbott sent illegal immigrants, or immigrants, if you will, I don't believe in illegal human beings, to these cities only to allow a new Donald Trump to come to Washington and bring heat upon these cities unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of the United States. When we come forward, we will be in Mr. Krim's classroom on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. At this grave hour, I ask all of our listeners to pray for our nation. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA delegation, you know what's better than laughing? Laughing while celebrating the legends who made us laugh in the first place. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to present our annual Black History Month luncheon. And this year, we're honoring comedy greats, trailblazers who broke barriers, and funny bones at the same time.
You had to grow up early when we was growing up because your parents would send you to the store to buy. You was too young to buy. I want you to go to the store, give me a fifth of gin and a pack of cigarettes. Mama, I'm 2. They ain't gonna let me have that. Here, take this note. You be a little boy walking down the street with liquor and cigarettes, and your neighbors be going, that's a good little boy right there.
We need a little levity right about now. So we're rolling out the red carpet for comedy royalty. D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Lunel, Dion Cole, Martin Lawrence, and a surprise guest appearance. It's going up Thursday, February 26th in downtown LA at the Grammy Museum. An unforgettable afternoon of stories, celebration, and yes, plenty of laughs. Because let's be real, these legends don't just tell jokes. They have changed the game, opened doors, and made history while making us smile.
You gotta go to child support court. You gotta get there real early in the morning. You see brothers going into court. You see them come out 3 hours later. I can't pay this. Let me talk to you, baby. Please, let me talk to the witness, Your Honor. Let me talk to the witness. Brother be working for 3 weeks, get his check is $43.
This year, for the first time ever, we have set aside a limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon. They are going to go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. So, if you want a single ticket, or if your company or organization wants to sponsor a table, move swiftly and get to KBLA1580.com right now. All these comedy giants in one room on one stage at the same time? Stop it! This event is going to sell out quicker than right now and sooner than at once. KBLA Talk 1580's annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. It's gonna be legendary, just like them.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned, homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And you are here with Mr. Ernest Krim III for the first time with the show for Krim's class. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing great, sitting here ready to take my lessons and listen to them carefully.
All right. So look, I think for me today, I had this feeling of, I don't want to say pessimism, but something I was grappling with this weekend is to be an optimist in this country is to give yourself a healthy cheat day every now and again. And I know for the folks who are still on their New Year's diet, you understand exactly what I mean, right? You have these plans for the new year. You're coming in with this new plan. You're coming in with this inspiration. You're determined and you're ready to achieve that goal, whether it's to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds, or otherwise. And sometimes you hit a roadblock, right? And people will tell you that when you are on the path to trying to achieve a certain goal, it's okay to get off track for a little bit, but you got to make sure you get right back on. Take one step back to go two steps forward. And I say that, y'all, because to be an optimist in this country is to also be a realist. I'm a firm believer in the people of this country. I'm a firm believer in the will that we have and the ability we have to organize and to make things better. But when I heard about what happened again this weekend, I had to give myself some time to be pessimistic about this situation. Because sometimes to be an optimist is to also be unrealistic. And I think during those times, we have to take a step back and say, you know what? This is difficult. What we are dealing with right now is very difficult. And in order for me to move forward, I have to say, honestly, I don't know what we're doing right now. And as I was scrolling on my social media feed for the people who follow me here, I'm still not back on Instagram. So I'm catching up on everything primarily on Substack. And the news comes a little more slower, but it's also a little more accurate. And I began to even see the video of Alex Preddy. I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. And I saw the video as I was scrolling through my feed, and I was taken back to what happened 2 weeks prior with Renee Good. And I was taken back more half a decade ago, which is crazy to say, right? In 2020, we saw what happened to brother George Floyd in that same exact city. And I cannot make myself pause on these videos anymore. I cannot create the energy to want to view these videos anymore because I'm not convinced that by making the murders of our brothers and sisters across the country, regardless of racial background, that it will lead to the justice we desire. And that's when that moment of pessimism crept in. Not pessimism that we will truly get what we desire, but the pessimism of, are we going about this the right way? Because I can't speak for all of y'all, but I can recall, if we go to the West Coast now, brother Oscar Grant in 2009, New Year's Day. I was in my last year of college and I came across that video. I saw that brother get murdered by a BART officer in one of the first instances of us being able to see this happen on camera phone. And I saw that family not get justice. Coincidentally, I was speaking in Oakland about a month ago, and his mother was there. I could have broken down when she came up to me afterwards because I did mention him as a way to pay homage. And here we are, y'all, 17 years later. I have never seen this happen in person, but psychologists would tell you, social workers would tell you that you can be traumatized as well. Secondary trauma. And I think a lot of us, any of us who have been involved in this, some of us go back to having seen Rodney King, right? On the nightly news at that. Some of us have seen this happen. This was also an issue, y'all, in the 60s, in the 70s, even beyond that. This inspired the creation of the Black Panthers. And like Brother Jesse was saying, this has also happened to our white counterparts time and time again. In fact, we know for a fact that roughly like more than 25% of those who were lynched were actually white. And I was talking to a friend of mine today, another black man, and we were going back and forth about what this means moving forward. Because just as this is also happening, as someone who is an educator online, the sale for TikTok was finalized, right, on Friday. And a lot of people in my generation, shout out to all the millennials out there, anybody Gen Z that's listening, we get a lot of information, for right or wrong, on social media. We have a strong distrust for corporate media. So we're scrolling on our feeds, TikTok, Instagram. And much of what we have learned about that has influenced who we are politically in this day has come from that For You page, that algorithm. And that has shifted too. Because the owner of TikTok, now the majority owner, is far right. It's a MAGA sympathizer. So where do we go with this moving forward? Realizing that even the very essence of what we thought was going to help us get justice is now being sanitized on a corporate level. Y'all think about this too. How many of the prominent social media apps are owned by people who care about having justice for our communities? That is something to really ponder. We know, obviously, right, with X, formerly known as Twitter, that's not the case, right? We know who that's owned by. Think about Meta, the app I'm currently struggling to get access to. We know that as soon as it was obvious Trump was going to win, we saw Mark Zuckerberg flip immediately, right? TikTok was the Gen Z thing, and I have some kids in Gen Alpha. That was their thing, the dance app, right? That is now corrupted. So I'm at a fork in the road now, because what we say we should be doing to get justice in many ways has not worked, and in many ways has also served as entertainment. I would also bring to your attention, throughout the course of American history, when Black folks and other folks were being lynched, we know roughly about 5,000 of those incidents, but I also want you to be aware that there are, to me, right, and any historian can tell you this, thousands more that weren't documented. Let's be real. For one, a lynching has a certain type of legal classification. Secondly, not everybody who did this admitted it, showed it. Emmett Till was never supposed to be discovered. For all we know, they could have said that it was an accident, right? These folks also took pictures with the corpse throughout American history. There are white photographers who made hundreds and thousands of dollars off documenting what happened in that moment. Not for justice, y'all, mind you, not for justice, but because they knew there was an audience who craved that, an audience who wanted that. They wanted to see those bodies dangling and hanging from a tree or burning at a stake. Black folks, white folks, Latinos, anybody that sympathized and wanted justice. That was the first iteration of documenting these things. Now, it took someone like an Ida B. Wells, for instance, it took NAACP lawsuits, for instance, to agitate the system the appropriate way. But it was different back then. They didn't have social media. They didn't have, so when I see what's happening, I understand that for us, we're able to say, yeah, they lied. Yep, they're lying again. That's what they do best, right? They'll lie to your face and tell you it's the truth. It's the truth according to them. It's law and order according to them. We see it for ourselves, and we're able to say, okay, we know that was unjustified, and we have proof again. Who are we proving it to, though? ICE doesn't care. This administration doesn't care. What are they going to do in Minnesota to stop this? What will the mayor do? Will he exercise his entire repertoire? Whatever it is that he can do, is he doing that in this moment? Whatever the governor can do, is he doing that in this moment to protect people? Because in this moment, we need boldness. We need courageousness. We need people to prioritize the citizens of this country. We need people to prioritize the residents of this country, the people who are here. And I want to be sure that I definitely say that, because even when I'm listening to the reports of what happened to ICU nurse Alex Preddy, oftentimes the mainstream news will say, of course, he was a U.S. citizen. And I think that is important to mention. But I also want to make sure that we understand that even if he wasn't, he did not deserve what happened to him. This is a humanity issue. This is a human rights struggle. And I've sat in trainings to learn about what to do with ICE, and I feel empowered, but then I'm also thinking like, man, as an NBA fan, how do you win if Tim Donaghy is reffing? You're still trying to, score by shooting regular jump shots and shooting your threes, but Tim Donaghy, who was fixing games, is reffing. They'll tell us to tell folks who are in these situations, do not open the door, remain silent, do not sign anything. Make sure you get a lawyer if possible, report and record. We need all hands on deck, because when we are reporting and recording, we have to make sure it goes to people who are in power, who are willing to do something to help us. Do we have the people in power who are willing to do something to help us? So now here's where I depart from the pessimism, because I had my weekend to deal with that. The power of the people can never be defeated. That is why they wanted to buy TikTok. Because if you curate the algorithm a certain way, y'all, it can sedate us, it can distract us. For the 2 and some odd weeks I've been off Instagram, there were days I had no idea what was going on in Minnesota, y'all. And every so often I would come across somebody who would expose, but I was completely in the dark. And as someone who's an educator and a content curator who focuses on this, that was really hurting me. But they can change what we see, because we know the algorithm that we have here is completely different than what they have in other countries. I'm telling y'all today that as things escalate, we're going to see more control over these social media apps and what we can see. The algorithms will change even more. Maybe some of these apps will be shut down completely. Maybe some of y'all will get kicked off the way I was. We're going to have to make sure we're supporting Black-owned media. KBLA. We're going to have to make sure we're supporting Black-owned radio stations, right? Black-owned radio shows, Black-owned newspapers. We got to go back to that. Every morning before I went to school in the 90s, y'all, my mom would stop and she had to take me to school, and she would, of course, buy the Chicago sometimes or the Tribune, but then she would also make sure she bought the Chicago Defender. We got to go back to that. I myself have subscribed to 2 Black newspapers, mainly to support. But we're going to have to remember that there will come a time when we're going to need that access, because the things online might be curated. So, y'all, when we come forward, we're going to continue to have a conversation about what this means in this moment with documentary producer Andrea Walker.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The White House says President Trump does not want anyone killed during ICE protests.
Governor Walz and Mayor Fry have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the Minneapolis shooting a tragedy, blamed Democratic leaders for fueling unrest, and said President Trump is urging Congress to ban sanctuary city policies. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is criticizing the Trump administration after a federal agent fatally shot a U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Bass is calling on President Trump to remove armed federal forces from U.S. cities, calling their presence unconstitutional, and says she's pursuing legal action to end militarized deployment. And rapper Kanye West is apologizing for past anti-Semitic remarks in a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal. West says an undiagnosed brain injury from his 2002 car crash contributed to his bipolar disorder and behavior he now regrets. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The road to the Super Bowl for the Rams ended in Seattle. A shaky performance by the Rams defense was a major factor in the Rams' 31-27 loss in the NFC Championship game. The Rams gave up 346 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes to Seattle quarterback Sam Darnold. Darnold also helped Seattle make 7 of 13 third down conversions. The Rams defense couldn't get off the field when they needed to. It was also a shaky day for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Stafford was 0 for 7 on 3rd and 4th down pass attempts. The Clippers keep winning. They beat Brooklyn 126-89 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Brooklyn's 89 points is the fewest allowed by the Clippers this season. 28 points for Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers are now just 3 games below 500. They are 15-3 since December 20th. The Lakers are at Chicago tonight, 4th game of an 8-game road trip. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
USC Visions and Voices invites you to the LA premiere of Major, an exciting new dance theater performance exploring the legacy of Majorette dance. Directed by award-winning choreographer Ogemdi Ude, Major combines music and movement to explore what it means to be proudly Black and proudly femme. Join us on Wednesday, February 4th at USC's Bovard Auditorium. Reserve your free ticket now at visionsandvoices.usc.edu. That's visionsandvoices.usc.edu.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the Southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Hey, KBLA delegation, you know what's better than laughing? Laughing while celebrating the legends who made us laugh in the first place. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to present our annual Black History Month luncheon. And this year, we're honoring comedy greats, trailblazers who broke barriers, and funny bones at the same time.
You had to grow up early when we was growing up because your parents were seen to the store to buy. You was too young to buy. I want you to go to the store, get me a 5th of gin and a pack of cigarettes. Mama, I'm I'm two, they ain't gonna let me have that. Here, take this note. You be a little boy walking down the street with liquor and cigarettes, and your neighbors be going, that's a good little boy right there.
We need a little levity right about now. So we're rolling out the red carpet for comedy royalty. D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Lunel, Dion Cole, Martin Lawrence, and a surprise guest appearance. It's going up Thursday, February 26th in downtown LA at the Grammy Museum. An unforgettable afternoon of stories, celebration, and yes, plenty of laughs. Because let's be real, these legends don't just tell jokes. They have changed the game, opened doors, and made history while making us smile.
You gotta go to child support court. You gotta get there real early in the morning. You see brothers going into court. You see them come out 3 hours later. I can't pay this. Let me talk to you, baby. Please, let me talk to the witness, Sean. Let me talk to the witness. Brother be working for 3 weeks, get his check is $43.
This year, for the first time ever, we have set aside a limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon. They are going to go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. So, if you want a single ticket, or if your company or organization wants to sponsor a table, move swiftly and get to KBLA1580.com right now. All these comedy giants in one room on one stage at the same time? Stop it! This event is going to sell out quicker than right now and sooner than at once. KBLA Talk 1580's annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. It's gonna be legendary, just like them.
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Welcome, y'all. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And I am your host this hour, Mr. Ernest Graham III. We are having first class Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, y'all. I gotta say, I really love that song, though. Y'all can really play it for a few more minutes. I'll be over here just bobbing my head and everything. So, moving forward, y'all, I want to delve deeper into this conversation we were having prior to the break, because like I told you, I'm an optimist by nature, but I had to have a cheat day, a cheat weekend, and just delve into my pessimism and truly figure things out. And I'm really reconsidering the role of documenting these murders and posting them online as a method to get justice, not as a method of telling our stories, but a method to get justice. And to continue this conversation, I want to welcome an excellent, amazing filmmaker based in LA named Andrea Walker. Andrea Walker is a documentary producer and creative executive whose work centers on culturally grounded, story-driven projects focused on lived experience, resilience, and legacy. She is currently in post-production on Shutting It Down, a documentary series pilot narrated and executive produced by Danny Glover, and is completing We Are America, a documentary series examining the contradictions of American history through families connected to the nation's founding fathers. Her work emphasizes ethical, grassroots storytelling with a long-term vision for impact across generations. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Miss Andrea Walker. How you doing today?
I can't complain. Blessed, and highly favored. Honored to be here with you guys.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time to have this conversation. And I think it was really important for us to talk with you because, as we know right now, there's a lot of conversation about what's going on in Minneapolis. And but I think a lot of folks might forget that about a year ago, roughly about a year ago, it was really going down in LA shortly after the president's election with ICE and everything. And I think about how that connects to, of course, you being there, but then also to your role as a documentarian to tell these stories and make sure they're not forgotten. So can you talk a little bit more about the work that you do and why you chose to take this path to tell our stories from a political standpoint?
So it's so many layers to what you asked me. So the first thing is that, we still have the Watt Sticks here. We still have the Last Poets. We have the home of the original Panthers here in California. And even though LA is 6 hours away from Oakland, those are still our neighbors, so it's so much when it deals with unpacking how we deal with the political climate and how we shelter in place. And especially when we say something like, oh, we're a sanctuary city, and then we turn around and do nothing when our neighbors are being harassed. And then when we see something going on and we choose to close our doors. So, I don't even think that people look at it as if it's standing their ground or just kind of bearing arms or whatever it is that that we want to put like a air quotes on. I think that people are really just showing their truth at the time, whatever that truth is pertaining at the in the midst of the situation. I feel like what we see now is ground level just information happening all at the same time. And like you said, they can shut us out, but I don't know what it is about this new generation. Like my sister just turned 30. So and I feel like we have so many different positions on things, but when it comes down to something happening, it's like it's like nobody have to say anything. Everybody kind of just do what they was supposed to be done, and then you'll talk later, and I feel like that's what this generation is. It's a unapologetic just way of standing up. And it's crazy too, because when I talk to my mom about certain things, she used to argue, well, you don't know what they did to be in that situation. She always now just tell us, well, do what you got to do, because it's constantly we're constantly being criminalized and having to defend ourselves. Like I remember when Trayvon Martin was murdered, and I remember thinking, he's still a kid, right? Like he was a kid, right? Because they continue to show his Facebook page. They continue to show this narrative of this kid. It's kind of like, well, he must have did something,
He was a man.
Yeah, they treated him as if, and as if he was a big man at that too, right? And no matter what he did, it was like he deserved to be in the position that he was, laying on the ground, just being, so this is nothing new to us as African Americans. This is nothing new to us. This is new to everybody else. I will say that this is new to everybody else. Like you said, we now have people of the Caucasian culture being harassed on camera, but we've constantly been seeing ourselves being harassed on camera. I'm a mother of 2 young boys, and I had to stop the helicopter parenting, because I'm like, when they leave my house, they have to deal with the world, not just home. And the crazy thing is, I used to take them with me to these meetings, and it's like culture shock, right? Because you have this parent that's doing all of this helicoptering you, and then the world is saying you got to do this, and these are your rights, and like you said, but sometimes we don't even get to use those rights. You can't be silent sometimes you can't just roll up your window or say no one's home, or my mom is not here. They will still violate those rights. They will still push the doors open. They are still asked to use the bathroom, or or question a 16-year-old without and so what do we do in those situations? And what do we do when this is supposed to be a sanctuary city, and the mayor is saying you're not welcome here, but we still see them across the street? Last weekend we went to Walmart, and so most of our Walmarts have closed, so it's only like 2 even within the neighborhood. So we're at Walmart, and we're like, something is going on. What's going on? And I'm talking about ICE was in Boyle Heights. ICE was in they were in East LA. They were on Wilmington. They were all over the place. They were downtown LA, and it was happening simultaneously. And everybody was just kind of at Walmart to get supplies, because it just felt like something was in the air, like you need to be home for the rest of the weekend. That's what it felt like, so, and these are things that you didn't get on the news. These are things that happen from you just being outside.
Yeah, let's hold that thought right there, Andrea. I hate to cut you off. We'll be coming forward. We got to go take a break real quick. We'll be right back, y'all.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
Still battling a thirsty lawn that guzzles water and drains your wallet? Let LADWP turn that patch of grass into a gorgeous drought-smart garden for free. We're talking a full California-friendly landscape makeover designed and installed by pros at no cost to you. That's right, LADWP does the work, you get the upgrade. Ready to transform your yard and save big? Visit LADWP.com/leap. That's LADWP.com/LEAP. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Not everything announces itself. Some things simply arrive, and the room is compelled to adjust. This is grooming without apology, without noise, without compromise. Gods and money, organic formulations, clean precision, crafted for skin that does not ask for permission to be felt. Element Cream, a rare hydration layered like an oud at dusk, measured. enduring, unmistakably masculine, moisturizing oil, a quiet revolution, restoring what stress, climate, and time attempts to claim. This is not skincare. It is composure made visible. It is inevitability. Gods and money exist impeccably. Discover the ritual at godsandmoney.com. That's godsandmoney, MONY.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Welcome forward, y'all, to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I am your host for this hour, Mr. Ernest Crim III. This is Crim's class on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We've been having a great conversation this hour, y'all, talking about what's been going down in Minneapolis. We've also been having a conversation with documentary producer Andrea Walker and the work that she does and just what it's like in LA right now. And as we kind of wind down in this hour, I would love to continue that conversation. She had to pause momentarily. You know how we do in the radio, we got to pay the bills. But you were telling us about just what it felt like with ICE's presence as you were trying to shop, just like going to a store. Can you kind of continue that story for us?
Yeah, it was one of those situations where it's no baskets in the whole parking lot. It's hard to park. It's almost like it's Christmas, you know, and everybody's walking around and it just feels like something's in the air. You hear sirens all over, you hear helicopters. It's like everybody's asking each other what's going on. And we all came to a conclusion that ICE was popping up all over the city at the same exact time. And people were coming from all these different areas because this is the central Walmart in between those locations. And we were like, well, what do we do? Everybody was like, just grab whatever supplies and just get out of the area. Just go home. Everybody just go home. And it's just, it's like a blanket of fear that comes over you when you feel like you don't have, you know, it's almost like a hopelessness when you feel like you don't have the ability to control, you know, what the narrative is, and you know there's someone there that does not care about you and it's not from your community just coming in, you know, and it still feels that way, to be honest with you.
Andrea, you got a question?
I sure do. Andrea, let me tell you what I've heard over the last hour. I heard something that Dr. King brought up on April 4th, 1967 in Beyond Vietnam, A Time to Break the Silence. And I tried to expand upon recently during his 97th birthday celebration, Beyond Venezuela. I heard in both the examples set by you and Ernest Crim that we are living through what Dr. King warned us about in terms of the triple evils: militarism, of racism, and of materialism. Mm-hmm. I want to say racism because of the treatment of the Pretty case and the Good case versus how the murder by the police of African-American innocents has been portrayed in the media.
Right.
Pretty case is definitely being dominated by that. And so all life matters to that extent, but it doesn't necessarily work its way up to a conversation with the President of the United States and the White House briefing room. Sure. I heard militarism when I see that ICE and American police officers are taking on increasingly a military type role with heavy equipment, without constitutional protections, without knowledge of how to arrest or Mirandize someone that they believe is interfering as a protester. And I see a grift taking place from Venezuela, steal their oil, all the way to the Middle East, and wherever there are critical minerals seem to be the focus of the President of the United States. All of that comes together in Beyond Vietnam when he says to young Black men, I can no longer tell these brothers to not be violent when the greatest purveyor of violence in our world today is my own government. I'd like both of your thoughts. And Ernest, I'd like to leave some time at the conclusion of the program for Andrea to offer us a word of hope.
Yeah, definitely. As we lead into Andrea's word of hope, I would say that this experience, for me, really, it's been nearly 2 decades when I think about just the last 16, 17 years or so. But in terms of the mass consciousness and awakening that we've had, I would say since 2020, I've really felt those words of every great leader from that time period in a very personal level. Because again, I think the system of miseducation here in America makes us think, or made us believe, that the work that they did ending in 1968 or maybe in the 70s was enough. And then we could just go to school, get a job, and work for 30 years and retire. We have to be very keen and be prepared to study all of our great leaders and what they told us to do, and realize that they were all correct in their own ways. That's what I gather from what Dr. King was saying at that moment, because it's still true. Because we see the violence happening here, but it's a reflection of the violence that we have all faced collectively because of this system. Andrea, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm snapping. Everything you said, it gives me it kind of gives me a lot of rage. It's like Fred Hampton. We recently released something called Revolutionary, where we used his speech, the revolutionary speech, where he says all power goes to the people, and he has them continue to repeat, I am a revolutionary, and it's, the power is within us. And we're now looking at what popular sovereignty means. We're now looking up all of these terms, right, that we didn't implement into our lives because we didn't have to apply them. And now we're applying all these different methods and things and looking at terms, because we realize that the 60s versus 2026 is not so much time. It's it's today. History is today, and what we do in this moment will dictate what happens in the next 30 years or so, or what our next generation is going to talk about. And it's like connecting those dots. I just want to make sure that we don't forget, and that we are having these conversations, and that we start having these young people respect our elders, so that those conversations can be, had again, because it was a lot of wisdom, it was a lot of neighboring and love then, and we got to get back to that. One of the things that I thought about during my reflection was during Trump's first term, I felt like that type of madness was kind of necessary for people to get back to being united, but it's on steroids. He came back with a vengeance their second term, and I'm like, if we don't stay united and stay cohesive, it's going to get more out of hand.
Thank you for that, Andrea. Thank you for your time this hour. Thank you for that insight. And as we move forward, we'll be joined by Reverend Owens in the next hour. Thank you for joining me today, y'all, on Jesse Jackson Jr. Show with Crimp's Class. Make sure you follow me on Substack to continue at Crimp's Class, and I'll see you all next week.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The White House says President Trump does not want anyone killed during ICE protests.
Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the Minneapolis shooting a tragedy, blamed Democratic leaders for fueling unrest, and said President Trump is urging Congress to ban sanctuary city policies. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is criticizing the Trump administration after a federal agent fatally shot a U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Bass is calling on President Trump to remove armed federal forces from U.S. cities, calling their presence unconstitutional, and says she's pursuing legal action to end militarized deployment. And rapper Kanye West is apologizing for past anti-Semitic remarks in a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal. West says an undiagnosed brain injury from his 2002 car crash contributed to his bipolar disorder and behavior he now regrets. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The road to the Super Bowl for the Rams ended in Seattle. A shaky performance by the Rams defense was a major factor in the Rams' 31-27 loss in the NFC Championship game. The Rams gave up 346 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes to Seattle quarterback Sam Darnold. Darnold also helped Seattle make 7 of 13 third down conversions. The Rams defense couldn't get off the field when they needed to. It was also a shaky day for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Stafford was 0 for 7 on 3rd and 4th down pass attempts. The Clippers keep winning. They beat Brooklyn 126-89 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Brooklyn's 89 points is the fewest allowed by the Clippers this season. 28 points for Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers are now just 3 games below 500. They are 15-3 since December 20th. The Lakers are at Chicago tonight, 4th game of an 8-game road trip. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. You may have heard me talk about the new course I'm teaching, The Art of Conversation. Well, it's here, and I'm holding a live free preview session on January 26th at 6 p.m. Pacific. Here's why this matters. For almost 40 years, I've made my living having conversations that count. Presidents, activists, artists, people who've changed the world. And I've learned something in the process. Most folk have no idea how to ask a real question, how to listen, how to create a moment. Whether you're building a business, leading a team, hosting a podcast, or just want to connect better, this changes how you show up. It's free, it's live, and I might have a surprise guest joining us. Here's what you do. Go to TavisTalks.com. That's TavisTalks.com. Scan the QR code, click the registration link, and you're in. It's January 26th, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm keeping this intimate. Don't miss it. I'll see you in class.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA. Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr., welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Moving Mountain Mondays and the J Lunch Club. Our very special contributor in this hour on Moving Mountain Mondays is none other than the spiritual leader our week,